Alright, before I start this video, I do not expect anything to happen. If this somehow gets views a lot, then cool. And I also do not expect Jayz2Cents to even see this video at all. I'm just doing this video because I want to. So with that said, this is a video response to the video of Jayz2Cents here uploaded. And basically builds a pretty dang good computer inside a small case. But my gripe with it is that the case is kind of ugly and it's $200. And when I saw the price, I was like, really? My computer case I made myself, which is made out of foam board, is $5 to build. And generally speaking, it's small itself. And in some aspects, it's actually even smaller than this case. But really not that much. But then I also have another computer, which I'll show off too. But this one's not really that powerful. It's mostly for a printing computer and whatnot for my printer out in the living room. Now I do not own a 3D printer, a normal printer. Because I like to build papercraft stuff. Which if you look at my video uploads in the past, you'll see exactly what I mean. So, first thing I'm going to do is go to the website that you can get this case from, and unfortunately, there he didn't actually give an actual link. You got to Google search it. I'm guessing the reason why he didn't give a link is because it's under Kickstarter still. I don't know. So I go to here and I got to look up the dimensions. And of course, if I go down to the very bottom where dimensions are, it's basically European, and of course my stupid Android phone refuses to properly autofocus. Like I said, this is a very unprofessional video, as you can tell. So I'm going to start off with length. So of course I gotta go into Google and I gotta American it. So Google 2 inches, and it's 12.6. So here comes in my computer case that I built myself out of foam board. This is my computer. It's not as powerful as the one he made. It's running a Core from 012, and I'll actually have the full specs for this thing in the description below and whatnot. But generally speaking, this is still a pretty small case even for me. This is actually the smallest case well, actually not true. This is a small case I built for my particular gaming system. But the smallest case I ever built so far for an actual computer will come up shortly. So like I said, I'm going to start off with length. So of course this is length. Let me grab my tape measure. And the length of the case he used, or the case he had in his video, is 12.6. This one wins out in length, as you clearly can tell. And even if I include this exhaust fan here, and that even adds just an extra inch. And remember, I'm being generous with length at least. It's still short. It's still shorter. But this is where this case flops, width and height. And that is mainly due to the fact that the height is due to the motherboard I'm using, and the length is, and the thickness is more or less due to the power supply, because the power supply is a pretty thick power supply and whatnot. So with that said, let's go back in here and Americanize the rest. Let's start with width, which is 140. And I type that into Google. And that pops out 5.5. As you can tell, it's not as wide, it's definitely wider. And then if I go for height, which is 188, type that into Google, and that pops up 7.4. Excuse me. And of course it fails in height. But for me, for what I had to work with, this is still an incredibly small computer case. Again, this is also made out of foam board. I actually don't know how well the thermals function in this thing. I believe it does thermal throttle, but I'm not sure, and I'm actually gonna find that out myself at the second half of this video. So before I show my other computer, or the little potato computer I have, I want to show the actual inside of this case and how everything's more or less aligned. Here's my Geforce 950. Let me see, do I have anything to pop the little pin here? No, I do not. Or the little clasp thing that holds in the graphics card key, or whatever you call it, or the PCBB, or whatever. Like I said, I don't know what it's called. All right, there we go. And of course, you can pretty much see what I had to work with. And of course, here's the motherboard, hard drive, power supply. Well, actually, no, I couldn't really. And of course, cooler fan. I have a little bit of a piece here to help get the air that this thing produces go directly to the CPU, which seems to do the job just fine. And my weak ass attempt at cable management in this itty bitty case. I'm going to try and keep this video short, but I can already tell this is going to be over a 15-minute video. Sorry. Unprofessional videos, unprofessional. Go figure from a small-ass YouTuber. Alright, next computer is going to be my crummy potato computer that's mostly meant for printing purposes. And this is it right here. It's even smaller than the case I originally made for my main gaming rig. So of course, let's go through the dimensions again, and since I forgot all the proper dimensions, I gotta go once again to the site and then retype. Was it 132? Okay. Come on. Which pops, of course, again, 12.6. And of course, I'm starting off with length yet again. So length is shorter. Of course, I'm going to go now for width, which is this way, which is 140, 5.5. And of course, this is where this case flops. It's a little wider, as you clearly can tell. And of course, if I go for height, which is 7.4. It's actually shorter, I believe. Then again, I don't speak European when it comes to measurements and whatnot. And of course, I'm going to show the inside of this case. Again, this is a computer mostly meant for printing purposes, so this thing's not that powerful. And of course, here's the actual inside of the case. Hard drive, power supply. It's basically, this is one of those motherboards that has that pre-built-in dual-core AMD from 011, I believe. So yeah, you can kind of get a general idea of what I'm working with. Also, this is a also notice how I'm using a freaking Apple hard drive in this Windows computer. And of course, pretty much for cooling for this thing, I just have the main power supply just blowing all the air that the heatsink all the hot air the heatsink produces. It just all gets exhausted out here. And of course, I actually flipped the CPU cooler fan, which is a small little crappy thing. I flipped it over that way so it actually exhausts all the hot air directly into the power supply and then just out the back. And of course, like I said, this thing's meant for printing purposes. This thing doesn't go under load at all. And of course, I did put a little cooling vent right here, so it does have fresh air. But like I said, this thing's a printer computer, so this thing has like little to no effort to do anything. It could also be a streaming PC we ever decide to go for stuff like Netflix and whatnot, but we don't really like Netflix, and we really don't like streaming. I sure as hell don't like fucking streaming. So, yeah. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to reset up my gaming rig and do a thermal test and whatnot and see what exactly happens. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play GTA for about an hour and a half, and I'm not going to do that stupid test run thing that all the other YouTubers do. I'm actually going to physically play the game online and actually have the game actually doing stuff and whatnot. So, and see if the thing thermal throttles or not. I think it does, but then again, I don't know. But you also got to remember, I'm not spending $200 for a fucking small ass case when I could build my own for $5. Oh yeah, and I also forgot to show off this little computer, not this little, but this other computer I'm working with. This one's more for uploading YouTube related videos for my fish related channel, so I really don't need to have a 750 Ti in this thing and 6 gigs of RAM. But I also like to play games on this TV every now and then, and of course I have GTA 5 here. So yeah, but it's long, but it's also thin. So this is also, so of course this computer here basically is running a dual-core from 2006. And you already know everything else. It has 6 gigs of RAM and a 750 Ti. This thing does the job just fine too for gaming, but of course if I want a better gaming, I have my main rig over here. And then with keeping in the foam board tradition, I also made a little standoff table to keep my computer off the ground. And I have it underneath my table I built that is holding my 10-gallon fish tank here that's holding 3 veil-tail angelfish that I'm hoping would spawn. The reason why I'm doing this, for those that don't know, is because I believe this one of these three, 2 of these 3 are going to pair up. And the other one just more or less is going to be kicked off to the side. And the 2 that pair up will spawn in this tank and give me angelfish fry. And if I do everything properly, I will get little baby fish just like this. And apparently my camera refuses to autofocus properly like it always does because it's crummy Android. And of course these guys are about a month old, believe it or not. And this is their only second batch. And for those that are wondering, this is Son and this is Blake. With that said, I'm done with this ramble and I'm going to go back to my computer. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure at least a few people are also wondering about this. This switch just basically allows me to control this thing from half speed to full speed. Normally, I keep it at half speed, so for the hour of me playing GTA 5 to see this thing thermal throttles, I'm going to keep it at normal. So I'm going to download IDIS64 or whatever it is that lets you know if you're thermal throttling, and I'll come back. Oh man, I forgot to do one thing. I forgot to pull one of my 2 gig sticks of RAM out of this little turd stain because when I was setting this thing up with Windows 7, it just wouldn't do it because of the 2 gigs of RAM it had. So it just kept crashing every time I tried to update. So yeah. Yeah, I'm running Windows 7 64-bit with 2 gigs of RAM. I don't care what you think. But it will not. But GTA 5 will not run. So give me a second to fix this. So yeah, stupid me being stupid me went initially for this one, but then after I ended the video, I went directly for the easier one to get out that actually wasn't impeded by the power supply. Ah, jeez. Well, like I said, I got myself a small case and I'm happy. Especially considering I didn't spend $200. I only spent $5. So, unlike that little AMD turd stain, getting the RAM back in this thing is incredibly simple. I already removed the GPU. Basically, all I do is I just stick my hand on one side here, And I got this nice little gap right here to help me. So let's see, can I actually record myself doing this? No, I cannot. Alright, computer's up and running. Since my spelling skills are horrible, I couldn't actually figure out what it is that they use. I know it's called IDA64 or whatever, but here's the next best thing I got. You can see the CPU temps and whatnot. Currently, right now, the computer is just booted up, so the temps are a little high. So I'm gonna let everything, well, I'm gonna let everything cool off for a bit and come back. Well, it seems to be idling around 92 or so. So, yeah. And you gotta also remember, I got a stock cooler, so yeah. And no, I don't do overclocking, and no, I really don't want to, because I truly don't give a crap about overclocking. Alright, I'm going to start up GTA 5. Let's take a moment to memorize the core temperatures right now. Alright, so hopefully that's long enough for everyone to remember the core temps. Then I'll come, and now I'm going to let GTA do its thing. Yeah, I can't speak right. Oh yeah, I also forgot that I have a FPS counter here. I believe the average around like 40, 60, give or take. I mean, I'm running GTA 5 at max settings, 1080p on a 950 with 2 gigs of VRAM. So yeah, I'm definitely not going to get the full 60, but it's better than consoles by any stretch of the imagination. Oh yeah, I also forgot the only thing that sucks about GTA 5 is it'll just randomly say connection error. So yeah, here's hoping I get in the first time. Well, I'll be. It actually loaded me in first try. Alright, so here's my iPod Touch. I'm going to set up a timer. Also note the time. So I'm going to hit start. And we're going to let this run, and I'm going to do this for an hour. Alright, I thought I'd pop in and show the average frame rate of me just flying around. Of course, I'm going to just generally do random stuff, but I'm in the game actually doing something, so the computer is working itself. And it is going to heat up over time, so yeah. So far, so good. Let's see, how far am I into this test? A little under 15 minutes. Another 45 or so to go. Alright, I know this video's gone long enough, but when there's a Prius in the game, I just have to kill it. I fucking hate Priuses. Now, here's the one thing I've never understand when it comes to GTA 5 and YouTubers stress testing their computer builds and whatnot. They never do online anything. They always do it through that stupid benchmark. They don't actually physically play the game to truly test the computer out. And of course, yes, I'm doing horrible. Mainly because, well, I haven't done a race in at least a month. But who cares? At least I'm stress testing this computer out. Even though I already know this computer functions just fine. I'm only doing this because I want to see what the thermals are, just like you. But yeah, I mean, to everyone that does a computer build and they include GTA 5, for the love of God, please do actual online stress testing, not that shitty ass benchmark. Because most people, when they play GTA 5, play it do online matchmaking, whatever, like this. We want to see what it actually does on a general gameplay basis. I mean, granted, right now my frame rate's generally pretty good. I'm above 60 FPS. It does dip every now and then, but generally speaking, it stays above 60. And plus, this is normally what people will do. They'll do this, or they'll play heists or whatever. And this is kind of more or less intense. This is more or less intense of what you can do when it comes to GTA. Heists are a whole different story. Even that, the computer the computer just handles it just fine. But like I said, this video is going to be freaking long. Like I said, I'm unprofessional. I'm not JayzTwoCents. I'm not Linus Tech Tips. I'm not Austin, whatever his name is, Austin Evans or something. I unfortunately like to ramble. So, yeah. Unfortunately, my videos tend to be long, and that's what fucking sucks. But, like I said, I don't monetize my videos, and I don't plan to. So, yeah. I'll see if I can do this properly. Okay, I timed a little off. Like I said, I haven't done any racing in forever, so I forgot when to exactly do that maneuver. But yeah. Alright, let's see. Where am I at on time? Alright, so more or less 30 minutes. And let's see where I am on temperature-wise. Okay, so it looks like it closed off. Let's see. Okay, so far max temperatures are 135. Give me a second. Okay, so it's maxed out at 142, or technically 145, but it's hovering at a near constant 140. Then again, I currently have the game minimized, so yeah. Generally speaking, I don't think it's thermal throttling at all. We have a case of a 12-year-old modder. If I go out here, see that red dot? That's a modded NPC plane. Ah, jeez, one of the joys of PC, GTA 5. Ugh. Alright, I can happily say that the modder put those two griefers that I'll actually have another video up about later. He put those two. He put two griefers to shame, and pretty much put them in their place. So let's see, where exactly am I at on the? Oh wow, the battery's almost getting low on this thing. Give me a second. Yeah, I forgot the battery. My LG G5 is pretty much shot. So where am I at? An hour and 23 minutes in. And you gotta remember, I also had a batch full of modder. There's a modder in this session fucking with two griefers that royally deserved it. So Rockstar's going to see the video, most likely ban the modder too, which I kind of hope they don't, because that modder was one of the very few that legitimately did a proper job. So let's see. So it's been over an hour and 32 minutes or whatever. What am I at? Okay. So it looks like it never even went past 145. So I think what I'm going to do is end this video just because I can. I'm actually going to go here and flip that to full and game for a little bit and see what happens, see if there's any difference. Alright, so to end this video off, I've been playing the game now for about maybe 30 minutes or so, 15 minutes or so, 15, 30, I don't know. I've been playing it for a while with the front fan spinning at full speed. Let me first pop this thing into the hover mode so I don't crash when I tab out. Not really a difference. Believe it or not, even with the front fan at full speed, there's no difference. So, conclusion is, I don't know if I'm thermal throttling because I don't have IDIS 64 and I don't know how to spell IDIS. And I did try Google Translate, Google dictation and all that other stuff, but it didn't work. But generally speaking, I'm pretty sure if I don't get into the 200s where this thing's max temp is set at, this thing's maximum temperature is 210. This thing did not come close, so I'm pretty sure this thing wasn't thermal throttling by any stretch of the imagination. But then again, I could be wrong. If I am, let me know. But with that said, again, for $5 or so in materials, I made my own super small computer case that is more than capable and has fairly adequate airflow apparently. Both the GPU and CPU are just fine. Well, granted, I never did, that's one other thing I forgot, was to actually make sure I have the temperatures for the GPU up. Well, a GPU has its own air circulation and whatnot, so I'm pretty sure it's fine. Speaking of which, let's see, is the fans even spinning up on here? Does this thing have a light? Yes, it does. Let's see. Yeah, they're spinning, but it's not. But it doesn't look like it's that fast. They're probably only spinning like maybe like what, 10%. They're spinning incredibly slow. But yeah, like I said, I don't expect anything to happen. I don't expect JayzTwoCents to even see this video or even acknowledge it. If he does, then that is cool. But sorry for this video being ungodly long. Like I said, I'm not a professional. I try to make these videos short, but I just can't. So with that said, that's my literal 2 cents on the small case matter. So with that said, I'm going to pause this video to an end.